Thank you for clicking on my presentation. I'm excited to share what I've learned about the digital transformation, more easily pronounced DX, with you, and how transformation is defined in the higher ed context. I will first define DX and then discuss some of its major themes. Themes are areas of concern that may be addressed, at least in part, through the digital transformation. Also, I will answer the question, what must institutions do to be ready for and fully embrace DX? I will then apply the ideals of DX to my workplace, Delgado Community College. Finally, I will discuss implications of DX now and in the future. Ending the discussion with next steps in mind will help you consider key takeaways of the presentation. DX is difficult to define since it may be confused with processes that effect change through the use of technology, but fall short of a transformative standard. The EDUCAUSE article, Consider the 3Ds, helps readers distinguish tech add-ons and process changes from digital transformation. Digitization describes making an analog process digital, such as recording work hours digitally instead of punching a physical clock. Likewise, digitalization describes processes that are automated, such as degree plan audits that are done through a computer program and approved from one office to another without the student having to come in to sign a paper document. DX goes further, but often cannot be accomplished without significant progress in the areas just described. DX may be defined as the intentional effort towards change on an institutional level, directly encompassing either the quote strategic direction, value proposition, or business model of the institution. The implications of DX are enhanced education, improved student success, advanced research, and streamlined administration. The typical faculty member may experience technology as a convenient feature in some of the processes necessary as an employee, such as time cards and e-signatures on documents. This professional may take initiative to incorporate technology as a tool to conference with and support students through lecture, planning, and individualized support. However, all these efforts fall short of DX because what is lacking is the connection of systems on an institutional level. Individual effort does not constitute digital transformation. Student experience must be at the center of DX. I cannot state the purpose of DX any better than Dr. Astrid Tuminis, the president of Utah Valley University, who in the second year of her tenure successfully moved 6,000 course sections online during the pandemic. Now the university enrolls over 40,000 students online. Dr. Tuminis emphasized the importance of delight in students' experience. In other words, were pain points resolved, or did the institution's failure follow students throughout their career? The digital transformation is a response to cultural changes as an effort to ensure that education is still relevant and valuable to students. Educational institutions must be agile enough to respond to cultural needs and do so with urgency. Schools were forced online as a result of the pandemic, and now remote work and study are a feature of life. DX is about a change in vision in faculty and administration's behaviors and expectations about how to best serve students. Technology is a tool that can answer the need for increased adaptability. The vision must be aggressive and visible, and upfront costs for investment in tech and training be considered an acceptable cost. According to President Tuminis, academics must no longer be, quote, laggards in response to the social need for change. Additionally, digital transformation may allow for better and more frequent assessment that can directly impact the quality of instruction. There are many themes that could be discussed in regards to digital transformation, including ethics, organizational structure, and roles within the college, communication, and student concerns. However, I've decided to focus on two: cultural shifts and data use. One main barrier identified to digital transformation is mindset. Members must adopt a flexible, collaborative culture based on toleration of attempts at change. Failure will happen. This is called learning. In order for true transformation to occur, institutions require teams that work cross-organizationally in order to minimize misunderstanding of the vision. Dr. Jimenez modeled this well by hiring a chief information officer who was also vice president of digital transformation. This administrator worked directly with members of academic affairs, such as deans and faculty, to clearly communicate a vision and provide opportunities for collaboration. Leadership must work in tandem with those directly serving students. In conclusion to this point, IT must not be a tertiary consideration in the college's strategic plan, but fully integrated in holding a leadership position. The institution must also be open to using data to inform and measure projects with a focus on data that returns the highest yield first. More on that in the next slide, but DX requires a culture of tolerance, collaboration, humility, and data-informed decisions. A main feature of digital transformation is consideration of how data are collected and used. DX challenges the idea of collecting data as an afterthought, a record to be shelved, and instead proposes that data be collected in a just-in-time fashion to create opportunity for growth. This change requires alignment in institutional organizations' priorities and methods to collect accurate, usable data and then put that data to use. The article Data Transformation at Salt Lake Community College is a case study of such a transformation. The community college, which serves many first-generation college students, students of color, and working students, found that many data collection efforts were duplicated and ineffective, losing the opportunity to positively impact students' choices. For example, reporting on graduation rates is too late. As a result of first renaming their institutional research office and then prioritizing data collection efforts, the college resulted in creating innovations that span multiple functions of the college with adaptive technologies to assist students in planning and other retention efforts. For example, the community college used computer learning programs to create predictions based on student behavior, analytics to predict registration patterns, and similar programs that reported on student progress from class to class so that information on previously enrolled students could be shared with instructors. The data were based on behavior only in an intentional attempt to avoid replicating bias. Opportunities were made available for struggling students to receive outreach efforts when there was time to adjust behavior, while there was time to adjust behavior. This is the type of data use, interdisciplinary and sensitive to time and student needs, that is proposed by the DX movement. A goal of Salt Lake Community College was also to improve data literacy across the institution so data were expected, trusted, and reliable. I will not repeat myself too much here since I analyzed Delgado's use of technology in the previous presentation. What I'd like to emphasize is the difference in approach taken at Utah Valley University as compared to Delgado. The vision of DX is taken seriously at UVU, demonstrated by the hiring of a CIO who also held the title of VP of Digital Transformation. Interestingly, this cabinet member level administrator worked directly with members of academic affairs, including deans and faculty. One part of this person's role was communicating the vision for the use of technology and promoting a culture that was tolerant of change and iteration. The interdisciplinary nature of this person's role and responsibility for managing the IT vision is what is lacking at Delgado. Having a position of this level speaks highly of the work necessary to be done towards DX. Without such upfront investment, little progress can be made on an institutional level, especially concerning the culture of tech use and of the value of a technological vision. In conclusion, the digital transformation is not optional for institutions that want to be relevant. Students confronted with the high cost of education are already considering the value of that education. Is it worth it? If institutions do not respond to current realities of the workplace and learning needs, they will soon make themselves irrelevant. Moving into the future, institutions must consider changing technologies, student needs, institutional capacity, and the need for leadership. We must remember that technology is a tool. What is important is how agile our learning institutions are. Can they, rather will they, respond to students' needs? Those that take up the challenge have a long and bright future.